Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/best of for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77. Their tagline, of course, is Satan is not a pogo stick. This was originally posted to Dear Prudence. I will also be including the link to the original post below because it is external to Reddit. Content warning for infidelity. Help, my husband's ex-wife moved in with us. Originally posted June 11th, 2019. When I met my husband 10 years ago, he had been divorced for 2 years. Lindy turned into a party girl after their divorce, never around for the kids and very flaky. We have custody of their 2 children. Lindy was out of the picture for years, but she re-emerged and texted my husband. She says she's changed her focus in life and is getting herself together. She told my husband that she's moving to Australia to start a new job and a new healthy life. A few weeks later, I come home from work and find Lindy in my house having a glass of wine. My husband took me aside and told me that Lindy will be staying in our guest room for 3 weeks. He said her lease was up and this arrangement is temporary and it will help her save money until she leaves for Australia. I was upset that he didn't consult me on it, but I let it go. It's now been 3 months later and Lindy's job keeps getting pushed back. I don't think it ever existed. The worst part is I feel totally pushed out of my own family. My husband works from home, so he's hanging around all day with his ex. I come home from work to find my husband sitting down with Lindy and sometimes the kids having dinner that she made, laughing at their old jokes and having a wonderful time. Lindy also does my husband's laundry, then says, "You're so busy, I don't mind." But I do. My stepdaughter has always had a picture of her mom in her bedroom, which is fine with me, but now it's in our living room. And the last straw, I came home and found my husband in bed reading as Lindy was organizing our closet. It's such a mess, let me help. My skin crawls at the thought of her looking through all my things. I've spoken to my husband and he says it's cute that I'm being jealous. He also said that he's not going to put the mother of his children out on the street nor pay for a motel. I want her out of my life and my husband and my stepkids back. And my husband is doing nothing about it. I don't know how much longer I can hang on and I'm thinking that's what she wants, to slip into my life as I slam the door behind me. Help, please. Update, September 16th, 2019. I was the letter writer whose husband let his ex-wife Lindy move into our home without telling me. Soon after I wrote to you, things in the house became even more tense. Lindy had a junk man haul my furniture away while I was at work. When I came home, there were new living room and dining room sets. The very last straw came when Lindy and my husband made family plans without me. A weekend away with the kids to visit family. I guess I'm not family. I finally stopped being a doormat. With all my financial ducks in a row and with the help of friends, I moved out and started my new life. I'm in the process of divorcing him. But here's the best part. They're no longer together. On one of our divorce discussing phone calls, my ex told me that Lindy left him for an old friend who came into town with whom she shares a deep spiritual connection. He says they plan on opening a bead store. Now my ex is begging me to come back, saying he made a terrible mistake. No thanks. I'll keep my dignity, but he can keep the furniture. Thanks to you and your readers for the wake-up call. 100%, this is not a tinfoil hat. I believe this to be actually just fact. I think Lindy just gets off on being a homewrecker. Like 100% so. It's just so obvious. She liked doing what she was doing because she enjoyed seeing OP getting jealous about her husband and she enjoyed worming her way into his life. And the moment that she was gone, there was no more fun in the game. The chase was over. She won. Next target. And the guy 100% deserves it. Like, he literally did this to himself. I fucking guarantee it. He probably cheated on his wife with Lindy. I would be shocked if those two did not sleep together at least once during the time where he was still married to his wife. And even if there was no physical cheating, there was most certainly emotional cheating going on, because for him to go on a family trip with his kids and to take his ex-wife who is currently leeching off of the family compared to his actual fucking wife who has been there for the children for, let me check real quick, 10 years? That's emotional cheating for him to go with Lindy, who's been out of his kid's life for 12 years according to the post, and not the person who's quite literally raised the kids as her own. It's a damn shame that the kids got caught up in their father's weird little conquest that he did with Lindy, and then turns out, oh no, flaky Linda is still flaky and is now a fucking bead shop owner, so the job offer in Australia was in fact a lie, and he pushed away the person who actually cared about and loved him. Also, I would lose my fucking shit if I came home and found out my furniture was taken out of the house and junked. That was a power move. And that is, the fact the husband did nothing is revolting, because who knows, if that furniture was heirloom shit, I would be dragging Lindy out of the house by her hair that exact instance. Like, ugh. The fact that the husband so blatantly fell for Lindy's flaky homewrecker scheme is just, ugh. It's just frustratingly stupid, and he deserves everything that happened to him. Like, she left him to open a bead store. The kids do not, though. This post was gathered by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, of course, Satan is not a pogo stick. Original OP is u/oh Jesus oh fuck oh no. Originally posted to r/relationship advice. My brother, 15 male, has been lying about my, 25 male, life to my conservative estranged parents and made a fake Instagram. Help. Content warning for homophobia and religious abuse. Originally posted July 30th, 2019. Okay, I'll try to make this quick, but there's a lot and I'm freaking the fuck out. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. If you don't know, Jehovah's Witnesses are extremely conservative to an insane degree. I wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter, if that makes sense. And my parents were not lax or exceptions for my children type. Extremely devout people, and I'm gay. When I was 16, I was outed horribly by my sister who found some gay porn that I didn't delete from my computer history. My family, of course, flipped out and demanded I either seek conversion therapy or get out. Luckily for me, my aunt had also defected from the church, so I was able to move in with her far away. My parents and sister immediately wanted nothing to do to me. My brother was 6. He was too young to really grasp what was going on. He had no phone or social media or anything. So I couldn't contact him. I honestly just assumed he drank the same end is nigh Kool-Aid and never sought him out. Earlier this year, I got a message from him on Facebook. It was a gigantic apology for not saying goodbye properly, and that he really wanted me back in his life. Clicking through his profile, I didn't see any Jehovah's Witness proselytizing like my sisters, just pics of him and his friends being normal teens. I was beyond happy. I messaged him back, we FaceTime, cried, he caught me up a little in his life, and I caught him up a little in mine. And from there, we started texting regularly. I am very, very happy about all of this, but he was still living under my parents' roof and was still heavy in Jehovah's Witness culture. I was nervous about this. He always reaffirmed that he only called or texted when he wasn't in the house or around other Jehovah's Witnesses, and reaffirmed that he thought the church was awful. Last week, something weird happened. I got an email from my mother. It was a picture from a recent Dells trip she had taken with my family and another Jehovah's Witness family. Years of no contact, then this? What the fuck? I spent days talking this out with my friends before it occurred to me that my brother might have something to do with this. I brought up the email to my brother when I called him yesterday, barely hinting at my suspicions at all, and he unloaded. He had been lying to my parents. He said that I contacted him apologizing and was desperate to get back in contact with the witnesses again, but was too ashamed. But the kicker is, he made a fake Instagram to show them. He plucked all the G-rated pictures from my various social medias and filled it with captions about how devout I am, how happy I am to have refound God's light, etc. He had taken pictures of me and my best friend, Julie, and added captions like, the love of my life, my bride-to-be, etc. Like, holy shit! He seemed already remorseful of this ploy, but that he was in too deep to stop now. Now, he didn't say as much, but the obvious implication there is that he thought he could get my family back together. But this isn't a fucking sitcom or the birdcage. He's catfishing his very emotionally unstable and religious zealot parents into thinking their outcast son was reconverting. I have no intentions of being in their life ever again, but I'd like to remain in my brother's life, and I don't want this incident to scare him off or sever the small bits of contact we have now. So, what do? I will not be contacting my parents, nor will I pretend to be straight. Obviously, I need to tell him to close the account and stop talking about me to them, but what else, if anything? Too long didn't read. I'm gay. Religious parents took me out. Little brother made a fake Insta to convince them that I'm not gay anymore, and I don't know how to stop this. Relevant comments. Deleted user. He's still in the cold and he's trying to drag you back in. I wouldn't be surprised if your parents put him up to that. I'm sorry, but you have to cut him off if you want to remain safe from them. Report the copycat Instagram and have it taken down. OP responds, that was one of my first thoughts, but I don't know. He seemed very genuinely engaged with my life in a way that didn't seem coaxed or trained. He also had pictures with friends in gay pride flag shirts, and has talked about going to parties, drinking, smoking weed, Marvel movies, etc. The internet seemed to connect him away from the cult as it did for me. Plus, if this was some elaborate ruse, why would he make the fake Instagram in the first place? Also, if barely coaxing exposed everything, my brother clearly can't lie well. Top comment from my man. Maybe he wants grounds to escape to you, kinda like, look, bro's all fixed, I can go visit him during summer without being banished. I don't think it was a ploy to drag you back in because he wasn't trying to convert you, he was trying to deceive them. If this could help him have a sane and safe outlet, that'd be great. He may also really miss you and just wish you could be unbanished, but you obviously should not have to put on an act to go home. Entirely. Fuck that. But the poor kid is trapped, and odd coping mechanisms are to be expected, really. I'm most curious about what his intentions are. Update. August 2nd, 2019. Thank you all for your illuminating comments. I'm honestly overwhelmed at the response and apologize for not replying much. It was so much, but I'd like to specifically thank you/my man for his comment, which suggested that this was not him trying to rope me back in, but him trying to escape the cult. You were exactly right. Today we talked for the first time since our conversation. He took down the Insta after our conversation, which I hadn't noticed at the time of writing the post, haha, and I gently asked why exactly he did this. He's 15, so he didn't quite have the language to say, I'm being abused and need to leave the Jehovah's Witnesses. What he said instead was that mom and dad are crazy and he's become disillusioned with the cult. He even used the word cult. He still believes in God and wants to explore different sects of Judeo-Christianity. My hometown is a small place in the Midwest, and everyone knows who the Jehovah's Witnesses are. They're like those people. So he couldn't covertly go to another service without someone recognizing him and it getting back to my parents. His motive was pretty much what you/my man said. He said he wants to visit, hang out, and explore the religions around Chicago. But the only way my parents would allow him to leave town is if they knew exactly where he was, who he was with the whole time, etc. So in his head, propping me up as converted was the only way to make it happen. I told him I was completely uncomfortable with that and that my relationship with my parents is over. He apologized and pretty much already knew the logistical problems. I think this was a very maturing ordeal for him. I established myself as a lifeline. I told them that if it ever gets too much, I will pay for his train ticket and he can stay with me for as long as he likes, even moving in for the remainder of high school. And I mean it. I have enough space and my aunt will help with childcare and extra expenses. He seemed apprehensive, but the thought's out there, and he now seems comfortable enough to vent about the church, my parents, and my crazy-ass sister directly. As for my parents, I just told him to cold turkey stop talking about me. If they ask, and this was suggested by Julie, my bride-to-be, he will tell them that I might have refound Christianity, but I have no intentions to return to the Watchtower, and that he stopped talking to me. Leaving Jehovah's Witnesses for any reason is grounds for excommunication, and I put my actual Insta on private in case they go looking. They might think I'm not gay, might now have the sliver of hope that I'll return to them, but that's honestly not my fucking problem. And for the guys who suggested this was a honeypot, no. No 15-year-old can act this well. He's so full of love and kindness, and as fucked up as his plan was, it was, at the end of the day, because he is panicking in a toxic environment. Thank you all again. My brother is back in my life, and now I have the means to help him. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Too long didn't read, my brother made the fake Insta so he could have an excuse to visit me. I told him if he ever wants to escape my parents, I will be here for him to move in with. The Insta is deleted. Thank you. Relevant comments. Downvoted commenter. Pretty sure I'll be downvoted for this, but it's lame as hell that you won't go along with it just so your brother can have somewhere safe to go when he needs to. No one said you need to be best buddies with your parents again, and them having kicked you out for any reason is a good reason to not have to befriend them. OP responds, the logistical problems are insurmountable. What if, instead of sending a 15-year-old alone on a trip with a previously gay son, they all take a trip? What if they try to contact me, meet my wife? Again, this isn't the birdcage, and the point of the birdcage is that you can't hide who you are, even if it's to earnestly help a loved one. So, from my experience, most forms of Judeo-Christians can be broken down into two different categories. There are those who actually follow the teachings of Christ and are empathetic and wonderful people to be around, and then there are those who use their following of the teachings of Christ as a way and a crutch to abuse, belittle, and bully others who are other to them. If you are part of the former, you are always welcome in my audience. In fact, I will always fight for your right to be here as long as you fight for my right to be here. If you are part of the latter, I kindly suggest you actually read the book that you follow. Again, I've said this numerous times, but I'll say it again because I think it's important to state. All walks of life are accepted here as long as you are willing to accept any other walk of life. If you are unwilling to tolerate and be accepting of others, then you are not going to be tolerated or accepted here. That's always how I've run this channel, and it's how I firmly believe it. That's just how a civilized society should operate. And before I get to the commentary in the post, I want to bring up one final point. Oftentimes, ideology like this gets usually hit with what's called the tolerance paradox, where, in a civilized society, do you tolerate the intolerant? Well, the paradox is actually solved if you look at the tolerance paradox as instead a tolerance contract. As long as you tolerate me, I will tolerate you. If you do not tolerate me, then I do not have to abide by the contract and I don't have to tolerate you. I bring this up because religion and LGBTQ rights are always a touchy subject when they're brought up together because there are those who believe that those two topics are diametrically opposed. When in reality, I know for a fact I've got some trans girls in my audience who are devout Christians. Shout out to you all who are there. I know you're watching, with your 400 IKEA sharks vicariously watching you across the bedspread. I see you. But onto the post. Commentary is going to be short because I think that OP has gone about this the correct way, and I also can't blame their brother because, as OP stated, when you're in a fucked up toxic environment, you make stupid choices as a way to try and get attention and to try to find solutions to get out of there. You do stupid shit. He's also not an adult, he's still a child and still learning what proper responses are and doesn't quite have the mental grasp on what's currently happening to him in his life. I do hope that he's able to get out of there because from some of the stories that I've heard, Jehovah's Witnesses can be very isolationist and toxic within their own family units, and it's definitely a bit of a scary position to be in, especially if they're extremely devout to their cause. So, best of luck to OP and their sibling. Dread Caterpillar 77. Their tagline is, Satan is not a pogo stick. Originally posted to r/relationship advice by u/ICutWaffles. My brother, 18, has been poisoning my girlfriend, 24, for the last 3 years. Originally posted August 29, 2019. She has always been allergic to lactose, very severely to the point where if she had any traces in her food, she would basically shit herself on the spot, ever since she was a kid. My brother and I have always been on good terms and always hung out together until 3 years ago when I met my girlfriend. He started getting more distant and more mean towards me, talking about how she's ruining our bro-ship and taking me away from our family and him. I told him he was crazy and didn't think too much of it until recently. Going back to 3 years ago when I introduced Katie to my parents, he was livid. I moved out about 6 months later because I was tired of his constant bitching about her coming over to sleep and hang out. Ever since then, we would have family dinners at my parents' house every month on Sundays. My family is Italian, so we eat a lot of pasta in sauce. Relevant. My parents make always 2 separate meals ever since they met her. One with no milk and lactose-free milk for Katie, and one for the rest of us. She never had issues unless there was an accidental cross-contamination, which happened every so often. The problem was, every month at those dinners, she was getting sick to the point of rushing to the bathroom and having excruciating diarrhea for an hour with severe cramps. Every single time. At one point, I started refusing to go, and my parents kept insisting, so I gave it another try. It was fine for a few months, and then it started again. This goes on and off for 2.5 years. I got really mad last week and got up in the middle of dinner and said to my parents, "Something is up and someone is messing with Katie's food." My parents go quiet and ask me why I would say that. My brother turns rather pale and stops smiling. I knew it was him. I confronted him and he started crying, saying he felt like he had to get payback at her for stealing away his big brother, that it wasn't fair. He said he was adding milk to the batch made for her and he had no regrets. I was absolutely livid. Katie as well. She excused herself and asked me to drive her back to our place. It's been 3 months and she cut contact with my parents. Katie refused to talk to them anymore because they should have had my brother in check and given him a worse punishment. He literally got a talk, a small smack behind the head, and that was it. And said she can't believe I didn't stop talking to them as well. My parents, on the other hand, are mad that we let this little incident break our relationships. My girlfriend says if I keep contacting them and insisting she forgives my brother, she's going to leave me. I love this girl to death. We've got plans to buy a house eventually and have kids. On the other hand, I love my parents too, but I can't have both anymore. What should I do? Too long didn't read. My brother was adding milk to the pasta dishes when my girlfriend, who is lactose intolerant, came over to get her sick as revenge for ruining my relationship with him. Top comments. Sofa King Great, 78. You say it too fast to become something else. Your brother is an evil, selfish, petty little fuck, and you should distance yourself from him now until he grows the fuck up. You didn't ruin your broship with him. He did. Bang, bang, smash, smash. Right. I would point out to the brother exactly how his actions ruined their broship. And hell, because of his actions, their relationship will never be the same. Even if he does choose to forgive him and continue having a relationship, the trust is obliterated. And I would make sure to point out to him that it is a big if in regards to continuing the relationship. Sunflower 1940. My girlfriend says if I keep contacting them and insisting she forgives my brother, she's going to leave me. Yeah, I don't blame her. Why would she want to forgive or speak to people who would sweep your brother's horrible behavior under the rug? Your parents had to know he was doing it. That's why they asked why you thought that instead of immediately denying it. She has a choice. Either she stays away from them entirely or she bounces. Update. August 22nd, 2019. The next day. I've read over 200 comments from you guys, and it just validated my mind that my family is fucked up. I contacted my mom and confronted her about why she would defend my idiotic brother, and she basically said he was young and stupid. I told her a few of your comments and that Katie could press charges, and she broke down crying, saying he won't do it again. Hell no, he won't, because I told her I decided to cut them off for good. Katie was actually relieved when I told her I was on her side and cut them off. Basically told me she was going to dump me for being an idiot who couldn't support his girlfriend of 3 years when she was basically being tortured for fun. I'm just glad she didn't and that we're getting through this together. Thank you guys for every comment. Even the ones calling me out for being an idiot trying to make Katie forgive my brother for the horrible things he did. When you're faced with this kind of dilemma and you've been close to your family for over 20 years, you get blindsided. So, me and Katie cut them out starting today, and we plan to move to the USA next year. We always wanted to live there. And finally be far away from them. Relevant comments. Everything is taken. A happy ending was never in the works, but you managed to find the best possible outcome. Your brother really fucked you, your girl, and your family over. Your parents' position is ridiculous. I could understand maybe being forgiving if he had done it once at 15, but he's been doing it for fucking years. He's seen the results of how sick she got. He did it most recently at 18? That's an adult. Fuck him. I'm glad you were able to come to this conclusion before your relationship ended over it. I think you made the right call. OP responded with, yeah, the comments really hit me hard. Sometimes seeing it from someone else's perspective really opens up your eyes. If the family or brother even showed a hint of actual remorse and wanted to try to make things better, then I would probably be in more opposition to going no contact, but considering that the parents seem to have known that the dishes were being spiked with lactose, and considering that OP does have a clear and solid path out, and it's not like they have any massive ties or obligations to his parents, and he can actually, in this circumstance, easily walk away, I don't see an issue with going no contact. Now, I still stand by the fact that I don't always think no contact is the correct answer, because every situation is incredibly unique, and I'm opposed to no contact just being a blatant answer that every Redditor throws out because they can't comprehend or handle complex situations. But in this circumstance, it's pretty clear, cut, and dry, and I actually think no contact is definitely a valid and warranted response. Because after all, he's a damn adult. Even at 15, you should be cognitively aware enough that you shouldn't be poisoning someone's food. Like, come on. And not to mention, with him being an adult, he could very well and probably should have been charged with a crime of food tampering. Like, the brother was incredibly aware of what he was doing and made it very clear he had no sympathy or regrets for his actions. And now, rightfully so, he gets to live the rest of his life knowing that he pushed his brother away. I do hope that OP was able to at least get far enough away from their parents, considering that they were looking to move right before COVID hit. I don't fully know if they were able to actually get away from everything, but I do wish them the best over the last 5 or so years that they've been pushing through this fucking nonsense of a situation. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code Oz at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.